Operating systems are probably one of the most important parts of our computers. They help us run useful applications. They also help us experience entertainment like movies and video games. However, they also allow us access to the internet, which helps us watch the most amazing YouTuber ever, me. Nah, it's probably a Filthy Frank or something. Operating systems are supposed to be as user-friendly as possible. Most operating systems offer a nice graphical user interface that makes you feel like a fucking child. Operating systems are also supposed to be stable and not crash the moment the user makes a tiny flick of the mouse. However, let's face it, no matter if you're a Windows warlord who fantasizes about Bill Gates, a hipster Mac user who spends $4,000 on a slab of aluminium, or a Linux user who nobody with a life understands, we can all agree that some of our operating systems have been absolute crap. And with that guys, this is C Galaxy and my name is Mr. Lullite, and today we'll be counting down the worst operating systems ever made. Let's get into it. Number 5. Windows 1 was the first iteration of the operating system I'm sure most of you use today. It was revolutionary, with its graphical user interface and its built-in applications. So why is it on this list, you ask? Well, beyond the applications already installed on the operating system itself, there's nothing else. So it's basically like the Windows Phone OS only 30 or so years ago. So whether you like it or not, you're going to be stuck playing Reversey and making basic calculations on the nice graphical calculator. The software also crashed more than a Bethesda game, and this new advanced operating system is more unstable than Pokemon Go. The system requirements to run this operating system were higher than Snoop Dogg, meaning you'd have to borrow a computer from NASA just to solve math problems on the fancy new calculator. Microsoft quickly released Windows 2.0 shortly after, which was a much better and stable operating system, and one that wouldn't disturb your amazing game of Reversey with a random crash out of nowhere. Number 4. Windows Vista was said to be another brilliant operating system from Microsoft. Coming off the phenomenal Windows XP, Microsoft had big shoes to fill with their new operating system. Many things were promised, like a stylish new user interface and a greater range of media tools. And to put it lightly, Microsoft managed to screw it all up. Windows Vista was a huge resource hog, requiring large amounts of RAM and a beefy processor to go with it, and many users failed to meet a standard where they could run the operating system stably. With new computers, many people enjoy going out and buying a range of new accessories for their shiny new computer. Well, bad luck, because Windows Vista couldn't detect any devices to save its life. You'd be left with a bunch of components which would fail to operate. It also didn't help that most of the software in the operating system ran about as fast as Rick Ross. Many of the software requirements went up for Vista, with requirements being significantly higher than Windows XP. Number 3. Anyone with a Nokia brick back in the day can remember how slow it was to do any tasks, how simplistic all the applications were, and also the annoying bleeps and blips the phone would make if you just look at it the wrong way. The operating system was called Symbian OS. Okay, I understand phones of this era didn't have much power, however, Symbian was still being used up until the early part of the 2010s. That's right, even when iOS and Android were beginning to offer rich smartphone experiences, Nokia decided to stick with their buggy, outdated operating system, which no one in their right mind wanted. Symbian was just awful all round. If you even dared to open your messaging app, you could be waiting until the fucking rapture of 2097, and it would probably still end up crashing on you. God help you if you want to use the web browser. If the web page was WPA enabled, you could be expected to wait a fucking eternity for it to load, and even then it would probably still end up failing on you. Well, at least we got bounce out of it. Number 2. Linux users have often been trying to convert Windows users to their side, saying the grass is greener on the open source side, and what better way to do this than to create a user interface they'd be familiar with, and one they could start using immediately. Well, there's a few problems with Windows. First off, Windows could barely run anything. Now I know what you're saying, Linux barely runs anything anyway. Well, Windows was even worse. About 90% of software made for Linux operating systems was incompatible, and would fail to run on this nice Windows ripoff. Well, at least I can use my nice keyboard, mouse and printer. Sorry to disappoint you, but the drivers on Windows were about as useful as EA servers. Most of the nice components you have connected to your Windows machine will most likely fail to be detected by the operating system. On the bright side though, the creators of Windows managed to earn a cool $20 million off the trademark by selling it to no other than Microsoft themselves. So at least something good came out of Windows, even if the users got screwed over by a completely awful operating system. Number 1. One of the most important parts above all else is that an operating system is stable, meaning it won't crash every 20 seconds, no matter how good the user interface is, no matter if it can run every bit of software in the world. If it is unstable enough, it can prove unusable. This is basically the story of Windows ME. Windows ME is an absolute mess, with a guaranteed blue screen if you dare use it for over 5 minutes. Windows ME was one of the biggest flops Microsoft has ever created. Windows ME was rushed, coming only months after Windows 2000. After all this, Microsoft knew it was a flop, as they only released one service pack for the entire operating system. Millions of new computers were sadly installed with this piece of shit OS. At least Microsoft upped their act and released Windows XP after this god-awful excuse for an operating system. Well guys, that's it. Top 5 worst operating systems of all time. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and share the video. Leave suggestions down in the comments for the next top 5 video you want to see. Until next time, have a good one.